Okay, but let me tell you, the feeling of being there, of walking the streets of the future, is really going to be breathtaking. You're breathtaking. You're all breathtaking.
What if the nicest man in Hollywood actually deserved the title? In an industry filled with massive egos, carefully scripted personalities, and celebrities obsessed with protecting their image, one actor somehow became famous for something far more meaningful than movies or fame: his humanity. Keanu Reeves isn't just loved because he's an action star. He's loved because every story about him feels impossible to believe until you realize they're all true. From secretly helping strangers with broken-down cars, to quietly supporting film crews behind the scenes, to giving some of the most honest and emotional interviews Hollywood has ever seen, Keanu has built a reputation unlike any other celebrity in the world. And the craziest part: the more famous he became, the more humble he seemed to get. But what really makes people emotional about Keanu Reeves isn't just his kindness. It's the fact that, in a world where so many public figures feel fake or disconnected, he still feels real. And once you hear these stories, you'll understand exactly why millions of people believe Keanu Reeves isn't just a great actor. He might actually be one of the last genuinely good people left in Hollywood. Some actors become legends because of the characters they play. Others rise to fame because of blockbuster movies, award-winning performances, or the carefully crafted image they present to the world. But Keanu Reeves stands apart from almost everyone in Hollywood for an entirely different reason. People don't just admire him because he's talented. They admire him because, beneath the fame, the fortune, and decades of success, he has never stopped being deeply human. In an industry often criticized for ego, arrogance, and superficiality, Keanu Reeves feels refreshingly real. He's the kind of celebrity whose kindness consistently becomes headline news, not because he tries to gain attention from it, but because people simply can't believe someone that famous could still be so genuine. Whether he's helping strangers on the side of the road, spending hours talking to fans, quietly supporting coworkers behind the scenes, or humbly brushing aside compliments about himself, Keanu has built a reputation that goes far beyond acting. And perhaps that's why millions of people around the world feel connected to him. He doesn't behave like a distant Hollywood icon hidden behind bodyguards and scripted interviews. He feels approachable, honest, and authentic. Every time he speaks, there's a sense that you're hearing the real person, not a polished celebrity persona created for cameras. Over the years, countless interviews, stories, and unforgettable moments have revealed exactly why so many people consider Keanu Reeves not just a great actor, but one of the kindest human beings alive. One of the most unforgettable moments came during a quiet interview when Keanu was asked a question that most people spend their entire lives trying to answer. What do you think happens when we die? It's the kind of question many celebrities would dodge with humor, philosophy, or vague spiritual answers. But Keanu paused for a moment and answered with heartbreaking simplicity: "I know that the ones who love us will miss us." The room instantly fell silent. There was something devastatingly beautiful about how honest the answer felt. It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't rehearsed, it was simply human. In one sentence, Keanu captured the pain of loss and the meaning of love more powerfully than an entire speech ever could. The quote spread across the internet almost immediately because people recognized something rare in it: sincerity. It came from someone who understood grief, connection, and the fragile nature of life in a deeply personal way. That honesty has always been part of what makes Keanu so special. Hollywood has a way of changing people. Fame often traps celebrities inside carefully managed versions of themselves, where every interview answer is filtered, every joke is rehearsed, and every appearance is designed to maintain an image. But Keanu has never seemed interested in pretending to be perfect. He speaks openly, laughs awkwardly, and often answers questions with a sincerity that feels almost out of place in modern celebrity culture. During one interview, someone jokingly said, "I'm not a fighter, I'm a lover." Most people would laugh and move on, but Keanu instantly replied, "No, because if you're a lover, you've got to be a fighter. If you don't fight for your love, what kind of love do you have?" Then, with perfect comedic timing, he laughed and admitted he was joking. But even hidden inside the humor was something meaningful. That's what makes Keanu different. Even his jokes carry sincerity underneath them. And then there's the humility. No matter how famous he became, Keanu never learned how to comfortably accept praise. During interviews, hosts often tell him how loved and respected he is around the world. One interviewer emotionally told him, "You are so loved, you are so appreciated and admired." Keanu responded with a shy smile and quietly said, "It's great to see you too." There was no arrogance, no attempt to make the moment about himself. He reacted like someone genuinely surprised that people care about him so deeply. Most celebrities would hate becoming an internet meme. For many actors, having their photograph turned into viral content would feel humiliating or invasive. But when the famous Sad Keanu meme exploded online, Keanu handled it in the most Keanu Reeves way possible, with humor and self-awareness. The image, which showed him sitting alone on a bench eating a sandwich, spread everywhere across the internet. People turned it into one of the most recognizable memes of the decade. When an interviewer later showed him merchandise based on the meme, Keanu didn't become defensive or uncomfortable. Instead, he burst into laughter and started joking about how people could use the figure in travel photos. "Hey, I'm in Paris," he joked while pretending to pose it for pictures. Rather than resisting internet culture, he embraced it completely. That ability to laugh at himself is part of what makes him so likable. Despite starring in some of the biggest action franchises in movie history, Keanu has never behaved like someone obsessed with his own importance. He seems perfectly comfortable being the joke, the meme, or the awkward guy in the room. And when it comes to interviews, Keanu has always been refreshingly honest, sometimes hilariously honest. During one conversation, he was asked what his perfect day off would look like. Most celebrities might answer with something polished or inspirational. Keanu, however, gave one of the most unexpectedly real answers imaginable. He described waking up beside someone he loved, enjoying intimacy, eating an amazing breakfast, riding motorcycles, swimming, reading books, seeing movies, spending time with friends, drinking at bars, and then ending the day the same way it began, with love and connection. The interviewer could barely keep up with the answer because Keanu delivered it with complete sincerity and zero embarrassment. The moment instantly became iconic because it felt so human. It wasn't an answer designed to protect his image. It was honest, funny, chaotic, and surprisingly relatable. Keanu has always seemed uninterested in pretending to be more sophisticated than he actually is, and people appreciate him for that. Of course, Keanu's natural charm has made him unforgettable to many of the women he's worked with over the years. Few Hollywood stories are sweeter than the one involving actress Sandra Bullock. While reflecting on their time filming together, Sandra admitted how difficult it was to stay focused around Keanu because of how handsome and kind he was. She explained that every time he looked at her, she found herself losing concentration. When asked whether they had ever dated, she laughed and said no, joking that perhaps Keanu simply wasn't interested in her. But years later, Keanu revealed the truth during another interview. When told about Sandra's crush on him, he looked genuinely shocked and admitted that he had secretly had a crush on her too. Suddenly, the entire internet collectively lost its mind. Here were two beloved Hollywood stars who had feelings for each other at the exact same time, and neither one ever confessed it. Keanu explained it simply: "We were working." There was something strangely innocent and old-fashioned about the story. In an industry filled with scandals and dramatic celebrity relationships, their connection remained sweet, respectful, and unresolved. Fans immediately became obsessed with the idea of what might have happened if either of them had been brave enough to say something. Looking back, the chemistry between them suddenly felt even more real. Keanu once described Sandra as a beautiful lady with incredible energy and warmth. He admired her spirit, her kindness, and the way she carried herself through life. Even decades later, the affection between them remained obvious every time they spoke about each other. And Sandra wasn't the only celebrity completely captivated by him. Singer Paula Abdul once shared a hilarious memory from the filming of her Rush Rush music video with Keanu. Wanting to introduce herself to him for the first time, she nervously walked toward his trailer. But when she looked inside, she discovered Keanu alone, wearing headphones and enthusiastically playing imaginary guitar in his underwear. Instead of being embarrassed, Paula found the moment oddly adorable. "That's my boyfriend," she immediately thought to herself. Even though they never dated, the story perfectly captured Keanu's goofy, unfiltered personality, the side of him fans rarely see in action movies. Then there's television host Kelly Ripa, who openly admitted she once kept a cardboard cutout of Keanu in her dressing room. She jokingly confessed that she used to kiss it and pose with it regularly. Years later, when she finally introduced Keanu to her son, he looked at the child and casually joked, "That could have been our son." Only Keanu Reeves could deliver a line like that and somehow make it sound charming instead of awkward. But perhaps what's most fascinating is that Keanu's appeal extends far beyond romantic admiration. Men admire him just as much as women do. Co-stars constantly speak about how magnetic he is in person. Actress Charlize Theron once described seeing him arrive for martial arts training in full jiu-jitsu gear, sweaty from practice and completely focused. She admitted it was super hot watching him train. And honestly, it's easy to understand why people feel drawn to him. Keanu has a quiet confidence that never feels forced. He doesn't need to dominate conversations or constantly remind people how famous he is. His presence speaks for itself. What truly separates him from many Hollywood stars, however, is the way people describe him behind the scenes. Again and again, co-stars, directors, and crew members all tell the same story. They talk about his generosity, his patience, and his complete lack of ego. Actress Ana de Armas described him as incredibly supportive and collaborative during filming. She spoke about how welcoming he was and how much he cared about the people around him. Other actors have shared stories about Keanu quietly bringing tea to exhausted crew members, helping younger actors feel comfortable on set, and treating everyone equally regardless of status. That's an important detail. In Hollywood, status often determines how people are treated. Big stars are prioritized while crew members remain invisible. But Keanu has earned a reputation for treating everyone with the same level of respect. Whether he's speaking to a director, a camera operator, or a fan waiting outside a hotel, he gives people his full attention. And perhaps the most remarkable thing about Keanu is how uncomfortable he becomes whenever people praise him for being kind. During one interview, the host mentioned that articles online regularly describe him as the nicest guy in the world. Keanu immediately shook his head and laughed awkwardly. "That's ridiculous," he said. But the more he denies it, the more believable it becomes. Actor Jim Carrey once described Keanu as the man every man aspires to be. When Keanu heard the compliment, he looked genuinely overwhelmed and immediately redirected the praise back toward Jim, calling him a genius with a beautiful heart. That humility is incredibly rare, especially after decades of fame. Still, the stories that truly define Keanu Reeves often happen far away from movie sets and interviews. They happen in ordinary moments when cameras aren't supposed to be rolling. One woman shared an unforgettable story about her car breaking down in Beverly Hills. Her car was dirty, traffic was building behind her, and impatient drivers were honking aggressively while refusing to help. She felt embarrassed, stranded, and completely alone. Then suddenly, a man wearing sunglasses and a motorcycle helmet approached her vehicle. She instantly recognized him. It was Keanu Reeves. Without hesitation, he asked if she needed help. The woman assumed he would help steer the car while she pushed, but instead Keanu insisted on doing the hard work himself. He pushed her vehicle out of the road while she sat inside steering. And the moment other people realized it was Keanu Reeves helping her, they suddenly rushed over to assist too. That story says everything about human nature and everything about Keanu. He didn't help because cameras were watching. He helped because someone needed help. Another reason people love Keanu so deeply is the way he interacts with children. Many celebrities treat fan encounters like obligations, but Keanu treats them like genuine conversations. One young fan named Noah approached him nervously and admitted, "You're probably my favorite actor in the whole world." Instead of rushing through the interaction, Keanu smiled warmly and introduced himself properly. "Hi Noah, I'm Keanu." The boy excitedly began asking questions about movies, especially Keanu's animated role in Toy Story 4. Rather than giving quick answers, Keanu patiently explained how motion capture technology worked, describing how computers transformed movements into animated characters. He spoke to Noah with complete sincerity, as though he had all the time in the world. That's the thing about Keanu, he makes people feel seen. Another fan once became emotional after realizing they were sitting in the exact same chair where Keanu had once delivered the line, "If you're not going to fight for your love, what kind of love do you have?" Instead of laughing it off or ignoring the moment, Keanu warmly played along, making the fans' excitement feel completely valid. For him, these interactions aren't inconveniences, they're opportunities to connect with people. Over the years, stories about Keanu Reeves have grown almost mythological. Fans talk about him giving up seats on public transportation, donating millions anonymously to cancer research, taking pay cuts so films could hire more actors, and spending hours talking to strangers without ever acting superior. And perhaps the reason those stories resonate so strongly is because people desperately want to believe someone like Keanu Reeves can exist. In a world that often feels cynical and selfish, he represents something rare, genuine kindness, without expectation of reward. He isn't perfect, he's awkward sometimes, quiet, reserved, occasionally uncomfortable in interviews, but maybe that's exactly why people trust him. He doesn't feel manufactured. At the end of the day, Keanu Reeves is more than just a movie star. He's become a symbol of humility, compassion, and authenticity in an industry where those qualities often disappear. He reminds people that fame doesn't have to destroy kindness, that success doesn't require arrogance, and that even in Hollywood, it's still possible to remain human. That's why audiences continue to love him year after year, not because he plays heroes on screen, but because, in so many quiet ways, he seems to be one in real life too. At the end of the day, Keanu Reeves reminds people of something we desperately need in today's world, that kindness still matters. Not fame, not money, not status, just humanity. And maybe that's why millions of people continue to admire him year after year, not because he plays heroes in movies, but because, in so many quiet and unexpected ways, he seems to be one in real life too. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a comment telling us your favorite Keanu Reeves moment. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more stories about the celebrities who prove that being a good person is still the most powerful legacy anyone can leave behind.